Do this if she's playing mind games with you. If she's hot and cold, hot one day or cold another, this simply shows me that she's a little inconsistent, and I need to ask you what you're looking for in a relationship. If you're okay with just keeping it casual and taking it slow and seeing if she unfolds, then play along with it. But play along in a way that shows her that you need consistency. But how do you do this? Pull back, and if she's really playing games, she's gonna start chasing you. And when she does come back, you need to communicate to her that this is unacceptable, and you need to know if she's gonna show you consistency. That's the only way you can truly fix it. But remember, never be fearful of walking away. So if she does it again, walk away.
Listen, welcome to Dark Arts Podcast. You already know what it is. We're here to help you guys with manipulation and dating in 2024. Listen, let me be real with you. That woman spoke so much truth, okay? All right? Never be afraid to walk away, okay? Never be afraid to walk away. Now, the main thing is this, right? When someone blows hot and cold, we spoke about this in part 1, probably because they got someone else in the picture. Number 2 is that it's a manipulative tactic that a lot of people learn because their needs were not met as children, and they've learned this passive-aggressive means of being able to get their needs met in a particular way, right? Or 3, they've got some personal issues and some things that are going on in their particular life that is causing them to be a bit more inconsistent in this moment in time. But personal issues, usually you should see some consistency and then inconsistency. That's different, right? You've seen consistency and then you become inconsistent. Here's my first thing that you need to do, right? The first thing that we want to do when we want to resolve this issue is understand what is your baseline. Like, what is your baseline to this negotiation? Because in reality, right, you must be willing to walk away. That should be on your mind, because hot and cold behavior like this, okay, all right, is destructive to your mental. It causes anxiety, it causes you to stress, it causes you to wonder where the person's at, and it also creates distance in the relationship and causes distrust. So it's not a small thing. Now, of course, it depends on what position you are in a relationship where this is happening. Maybe you're already in a relationship, and we probably need to do another video. If that is the case, comment down below. But if you are just starting to date somebody and they're showing this hot and cold behavior, this is the video for you, because we need to break it all the way down for you. Okay, we need to make you understand that, listen, someone blowing hot and cold is not where you should be in a relationship format. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is this. You need to call that out immediately. Okay? All right, I love my little sound. Call that out immediately. And the reason being is because if you let it go, you're allowing a violation to go. When you let violations go, your anger begins to build, your resentment begins to build. Whenever something happens and it violates your boundaries, you let people know immediately that they've violated your boundaries. The longer you let it go and sit, it's the more your frustration builds, and probably more than likely, you're going to do what we call a pile-on. You're going to get frustrated, you're going to get angry, and it's going to explode in a bigger format. But if you do it when it's very small and you're able to attest it then you're able to kind of hit some points early, right? So, and you're able to not be as emotionally explosive that you might be later on. So the key thing is call it out early. The first time you start seeing an inconsistency, you ask that question, hey, what's going on? I'm starting to see a little bit that you're being a bit hot and cold, or you're kind of in and out. Is anything going on? You can ask a genuine question, because the person may actually have an issue. And if they answer and they say no, everything's all good, you can say, hey, I want to let you know, listen, hey, look, I've just seen obviously that in the last few days that you've been a bit hot and cold. I know you said nothing's going on, but I can see you actually being hot and cold. Your responses are a little bit different. You haven't texted the last 2 days, or I ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna not text me for 2 days. I'm sorry, that ain't gonna run with me. We ain't involved in that. If we're actually exclusively trying to date, the early doors, yeah, okay, I get it, but you know what I'm saying to you? That hot and cold behavior, you don't want it to exist. So it's really about that early communication from the very jump. Don't let violations build up, because you will get emotionally aroused, and then you will blow up, and that doesn't help anything. That just destroys a relationship in general. Okay. And number 2 is you need to be assertive and clear, okay, about your CSR. Okay, let me hit that mic. I just want to hit a little. Thank you. The CSR is this: culture, standard, rules. Okay, culture, standard, rules. Your culture is simply this, okay? Culture is a concept that encompasses social behavior. I could read the rest, but it's not important. Social behavior, the laws and the customs, okay? Your culture is built up by your standards, and your standards are built up by your rules. Okay, so the culture you operate in a relationship by is that you're saying, listen, I'm a person that operates in a culture of reciprocity. I'm a person that operates in consistency. I'm about showing love. I'm about receiving love. I'm about, treating people with kindness and compassion and love. It's about knowing your needs. Your needs begin to inform your culture. Whatever your needs are, they build your culture. And your culture is what you're going to operate on a daily basis. Now, on your daily basis, you have to understand that you have standards. Okay? And your standards are a level of quality or attainment defined by expectations. Okay? In a sense, what it is habits and actions which help you outline which behaviors are acceptable. Okay, so your standards are going to let you know that this behavior is acceptable, right? And so you surrender to standards because you must let the person know that there is also something greater than you. Okay, you can't be the be all and end all. There must be something greater than you as an individual person if you're leading a relationship as a man specifically, because you must answer to something so that she knows that she's safe. If you're the thing that we have to answer to only, then you can do whatever you want. Absolute power corrupts. Okay, all right. So, for instance, your standard may be that we will not raise our voice, and we're not willing to talk. We're willing to talk things out. We're not gonna shout and scream. We're not gonna cuss each other. That could be part of your standards. But you see, your standards are made up of rules. Okay, which is one set of explicit or understood regulations or principles governing conduct within a particular activity or sphere. Better yet said, these are the guidelines that people are running by on a daily basis. Okay, all right. Okay, so your rules are simply this: when we're in an argument, we don't raise our voice. That is a rule. Okay, and when you get the rule informs the standard. So when that rule is hit, when someone breaks that rule, you say, hey, my standards are, you've seen how I am, I'm consistent, I don't shout and I don't scream and I don't call out your name when we have conversations. That's my standard. Right? And then your standard informs your culture, because that is what you do on a daily basis. They have seen your behavior. And so how you operate in your culture is that this is not how you operate. This is not how you move. You don't do these things. Right? And you create an atmosphere for that because you've shown her through your behavior. Okay, so rules inform standards, standards inform the culture. Okay, the culture is what overall happens, and you can see in a relationship that this is how they're very respectful. Why? Because they have standards and rules. The culture is respectful. The culture is loving because they have what? Standards and rules. Oh, the culture is as wealthy and giving because of standards and rules. And so when you have that, you have to be assertive with your standards and be clear about what your culture, standards, and rules are. And you live and breathe that, so you don't have to necessarily say it out loud, but the person will see through your behavior what it is. Hot and cold can't exist in a person who knows their culture, their standards, and their rules, because they know what their needs are. Number 3 is this final point. Let me play my little bill. Can you play? Thank you very much. You must state the consequences of such behavior. Once you've established that the rules have been broken, the standards are not being upheld, and the culture is not being, the person's not operating in the culture that you operate within your life, you must let them know there are consequences for their behavior. You see, when we allow people to mistreat us and we don't say anything about it, we're saying that it's acceptable to behave this way. This is why there is a jail for bad behavior, because there are consequences for bad behavior. Now, the consequence might be you walking away, but the consequence in this instance will be like, look, when you do that, I'm now wondering what's going on in the relationship, and now I'm confused and I'm anxious. And when I'm anxious and I'm confused, I also want to pull away from the relationship. This is not going to be healthy. So what I need to know is this behavior going to improve? Because I cannot exist in an environment where we're not having mutual communication or mutual reciprocity, or you're not trying to be consistent. If this is not something for you, that's fine. Let me know. I'll walk away. I'll go about my business. And this is very calm. You don't have to shout, scream this. You're being assertive. Assertive is the ability to be able to respect their needs as well as respecting your own. Okay? Being able to let the person know what your needs are while simultaneously upholding theirs. I don't have to cuss you out. I don't have to judge you. I don't have to make it crazy. You're just saying to listen, when you do this, when you are doing hot and cold, when you're texting every 2 days, and maybe you can even say when you're texting every 2 or 3 days, right, to my replies, this makes me feel anxious. This makes me feel concerned, right? And when I feel anxious or concerned, I then want to look to pull away. And that's a natural response. And you're letting the person know there were consequences to their actions. In the future, what I would like to see is that, listen, you're more consistent with that. I don't want to wait 2-3 days for a message, right? Now, if you know you can't do that, then please let me know. This is early doors of communication. When you're very strong on this, women yield. And the ones who don't are not for you. Women look for strong leadership. So when you let the person know this doesn't work for me, you know what I'm saying to you? People yield or they go away. That's what you should be doing, right? Okay? Don't stand for it and be like, I'm going to try and make it, I'm going to save them. You can't save them. They need to also know, you have to understand that they need to also do the work. They're willing to put the work in. If they know that's an issue for them, they should admit it, be accountable, and say to you, listen, maybe this is an issue that I have. I know I've got an issue. I want to be accountable. I'm going to start working on it. If they're not saying that to you, and like, this is how I am, my friend, up your bags, get the packing, get the moving, get the leavings. Okay? Don't suffer in silence like that. Appreciate you guys.